The clone's mission begins. The stars outside the space station looked calm, but inside, everything was about to change. Jack was a human engineer, working alone on Outpost 9, a small research station at the edge of Zarnathi space. He liked quiet. Machines didn't lie. They didn't betray. But that peace ended when an alien ship docked without warning. Jack grabbed his tool belt and walked to the landing bay, confused. There were no scheduled visits. The ship's ramp lowered, with a hiss of steam. And then, she appeared, tall, elegant, with glowing silver eyes and skin that shimmered like moonlight. The alien woman walked forward slowly. She wore a royal-style robe and her long hair floated slightly, as if the air respected her presence. Jack stared. She was the most beautiful alien he had ever seen. Human, she said in perfect English. I am Sira. I seek shelter. Jack hesitated. We don't get visitors here. Who sent you? I was assigned to observe human behavior. I am from the Zarnathi royal line, she said with a slight bow, but I am not the queen. I am a copy. Jack blinked. You're a clone? Yes, Sira replied softly. A clone of the queen. I was created for one purpose, to study your kind. But I have disobeyed. I no longer want to return. Jack didn't know what to say. This was dangerous. The Zarnathi were proud, powerful, and didn't tolerate rebellion, but she didn't seem like a spy. She looked scared. He finally nodded. All right, you can stay for now. But if your people come looking, they won't find me easily. She interrupted. I turned off my signal. I made sure no one followed. Over the next few days, Sira explored the outpost. She was curious, asking questions about human tools, food, and behavior. She laughed awkwardly when she tasted coffee for the first time. Bitter, she said, but somehow comforting. Jack watched her closely. She wasn't like other aliens he had met. She seemed more alive, more emotional. Sometimes she stood alone at the window, looking at the stars with sadness in her eyes. One evening, as they sat in the control room, Jack finally asked, "Why did you run?" She didn't answer right away. Then she said quietly, "Because I started feeling things I wasn't designed to feel." Jack frowned. Like what? Warmth, fear, desire. Her eyes met his. Clones are not supposed to want anything. We follow orders, we observe. But the more I watched humans, the more I wanted to be something more than a tool. The silence was heavy. Then she said the words that shook Jack to his core. And I chose you. You're the one I want to learn from. He looked away, unsure how to respond. Was this some kind of trap? Or was she truly sincere? That night, Jack couldn't sleep. Her words played in his mind. She had no reason to lie. And yet, why him? The next morning, things became stranger. Sira walked into the lab, holding her stomach. Her expression was unreadable. I need your help, she said. Jack stood up quickly. What's wrong? I think something is growing inside me. He froze. What do you mean? I mean, I think I'm pregnant. Jack's jaw dropped. That's not possible. Clones can't reproduce. I know, Sira said, but my body is changing. I scanned myself. The readings, they don't make sense. Jack stared at her. She looked afraid, truly afraid. And that's when he understood. This wasn't part of her mission. This was real. Does the queen know? He asked. Sira shook her head. Not yet, but she will. All clones are connected to the queen through a genetic link. She will sense something, soon. Jack rubbed his face. What will she do if she finds out? Sira looked down. She will erase me. And maybe you too. Jack's fists tightened. He had spent years in space, avoiding people, avoiding emotions. But now this alien clone stood before him, pregnant with a child that shouldn't exist, and she was in danger because of him. He didn't know what would happen next. But one thing was clear. He couldn't walk away. Something growing inside her. The station lights flickered slightly as the morning cycle began. Jack hadn't slept. He kept pacing, checking sensors, systems, anything to keep his mind off the impossible truth Sira, an alien clone, was pregnant, and he was the father. She sat silently in the medbay, her hands resting gently on her stomach. Her face was calm, but her glowing eyes showed quiet fear. Jack finally broke the silence. "Sira, you said the Queen might find out?" She nodded, slowly. "Clones are built with tracking threads. The Queen feels when something changes in us, especially something unnatural." Jack swallowed hard. "And a pregnancy definitely counts." "Yes." He sat beside her, still in shock. "How can a clone even get pregnant?" "I don't know," Sira whispered. "Maybe something in your human biology unlocked something hidden in me. Or maybe I was never just a clone." That thought sent a chill through Jack. What if Sira was more than she believed? A failed experiment? Or maybe the Queen's secret backup plan? As Sira slept, Jack scanned her body using advanced med-tools. The readings made no sense. Her DNA was shifting, adapting, and the life inside her. It wasn't fully alien, but it wasn't fully human either. It was something new. Suddenly the console beeped. A new signal had entered their sector. Jack's heart raced. "Ship detected. Zarnathi Royal Signature," the system said in a calm voice. He ran to the command screen. The ship wasn't close enough to see them yet, but it was moving fast. Too fast. He rushed back to Sira and gently shook her awake. "We have to hide you now." She blinked, confused. "Is it the Queen?" Jack nodded. "Could be. Or someone she sent. Either way, we have minutes." Sira stood, shaky. "There's only one place on this station where the scanners can't reach." Jack helped her to the emergency shielded room, originally built to store volatile elements. Now their only chance. He closed the door, activated the shielding, and told her, "Stay quiet. No matter what happens, don't speak." She reached out and grabbed his hand. "If they take you..." "They won't," Jack said firmly. "I won't let them." As the alien ship neared, Jack wiped all logs, erased DNA scans, and disabled the station's network. Everything looked empty, but the tension in the air was thick. Finally, the ship docked. The airlock hissed. And then, a tall Zarnathi stepped. Inside, she was armored, beautiful in a cold way, and held a long staff glowing with energy. "I am Royal Commander Xeno," she said, eyes narrowing at Jack. "We tracked a traitor, a clone." Jack kept his voice calm. "This is a human station. No Zarnathi activity here." Her gaze scanned the room slowly. "You lie well for a primitive." But the Queen felt something, a change, a spark. Clones don't change unless something foreign interferes. She stepped closer. Jack didn't move. "Check all you want. No one's here but me," she growled. "If I find even one strand of her DNA, this entire station will be burned." But after hours of searching, Xeno found nothing. She looked at Jack one last time. "If she's here, you won't save her forever. The Queen wants to know why." Her clone felt love and pain, and now, creation. She turned and left. The ship detached. The hum of its engines faded into silence. Jack exhaled for the first time in what felt like hours. He opened the shielded room. Sira looked up at him, tears in her eyes. "She knew?" she whispered. Jack nodded. "They'll come again." Sira placed his hand over her stomach. The small life inside her pulsed, alive, growing. Jack stared, breath caught. This child, Sira whispered, is not just a mix of you and me. It's proof that something new can exist between our kinds. Outside the stars were quiet again, but inside the outpost a new kind of life had begun, and it was already being hunted. Royal eyes. Watching royal eyes. Watching. The station's silence was no longer peaceful. It felt like a trap now. Jack double-checked the shields around the emergency room. Sira was still safe for now, but danger was closing in. The Xarnathi knew something had happened. They just didn't know exactly what. Yet. Inside the command room, Jack watched the stars nervously. A few hours ago, Royal Commander Xeno had left, pretending to believe his lie. But something about her eyes told him this wasn't over. He was right. The station's hidden sensors, which Jack had secretly installed after too many run-ins with alien scavengers, picked up a tiny object floating in orbit. It was a spy drone. Xarnathi, tech, silent, invisible to normal scans. But Jack had been paranoid for years, so he caught it. Damn, he whispered. They didn't leave. They're watching. He disabled the external antenna. Then he scrambled the drone's signal. But the damage was done. The Queen now had eyes on them. Deep in the Xarnathi royal palace, far from the stars, the Queen sat, alone in a chamber of light. Her real body rested in a biothrone, her mind swimming through streams of data. She wasn't old. Her kind didn't age the way humans did. But she was tired of watching her people decline. Clones were made to solve that, but none had succeeded. Until now, a ripple crossed her mind, a soft signal from far away, not from her own body, but from the clone. Sira. The Queen closed her eyes. In her mind, she felt it clearly now. Life. Growing life. But it was wrong. It was warm, emotional, human. She opened her glowing golden eyes and whispered, "It's him." The human touched her soul. She stood up from her throne, her long cloak trailing behind her. "Prepare my personal vessel," she ordered. "I'm going to meet the father of my heir." Back at the outpost, Jack worked fast. He moved Sira to a supply chamber shielded by lead panels. He didn't tell her what he had learned, not yet. She watched him silently, sensing his tension. "What happened?" she finally asked. "There's a drone outside. I disabled it, but I think—" He paused. "The Queen knows." Sira closed her eyes. "Then she's coming." Jack looked at her. "Will she kill you?" "She might," Sira whispered, "but not before she sees you. The Queen will want to understand how you broke her rules, how you changed me." Jack rubbed his face. "I didn't try to change anything." "But you did," she said. "You treated me like a person. No one in the Empire has ever done that." Suddenly the station lights dimmed. Not from power loss, but from an incoming power signature. Something massive had entered orbit. Jack ran to the console. A giant ship hovered above the station, twice the size of any Xarnathi warcraft he had ever seen. It radiated heat and energy. Its sleek black surface reflected nothing. The name in Xarnathi glyphs shimmered across its side. Sovereign Womb. His blood went cold. "That's her," Sira said softly. "Only the Queen travels in that ship." Before Jack could react, a voice echoed through the station's speaker system. "This is Queen Azathra of the Xarnathi. Human, open your gate. We must speak." The voice was calm, cold, yet it held a strange beauty, like a storm whispering your name. Jack took a deep breath. "Sira, stay here, no matter what happens." She grabbed his hand. "She won't leave without seeing me." "I know, but I need to stall. Buy us time." He stepped into the docking bay. The door opened. And then, the Queen stepped through. She was taller than Sira. Her presence made the air feel heavier. Her hair floated behind her like golden fire. Her eyes were like suns, ancient and unreadable. Jack stood firm. "You are the human," she said, slowly walking toward him. He nodded. "And you're the queen." She stopped just a foot away. Her eyes narrowed. "My clone carries your seed." Jack's jaw tightened. "She's not just a clone. She's a person." The queen tilted her head slightly. "A person with my face, my voice, my blood." Then she reached out and touched his chest. "You did what no Zarnathi male could. You created life with me. Even if it was through a copy." Jack didn't move. "You don't hate me for it?" he asked. The queen smiled faintly. "Hate? No, human. I feel curiosity." She leaned closer. "And now? I want to see if your gift was a one-time miracle, or if my real body can carry your flame too." The queen descends. She stood in front of him. Not just a ruler, not just royalty, but a force of nature in alien form. Queen Azathra's golden eyes didn't blink. Her long cloak swayed with invisible energy. Every movement felt rehearsed, elegant, and deadly. Jack could barely breathe. Behind her, 2 armored Zarnathi guards flanked the docking bay like living statues. Their weapons hummed with quiet power. Jack spoke first. "If you've come to kill Sira or take her child, don't waste time." "I'll fight." The queen raised a brow, almost amused. "You think I came to punish?" Jack nodded slowly. "That's what rulers do when their orders are disobeyed." She stepped forward. "You misunderstand, human. What happened between you and the clone was unexpected, but not unwelcome." Jack narrowed his eyes. "You sent her here to spy. She came back with a child." The queen's lips curled slightly. "She came back with proof that humans and Zarnathi are not as incompatible as we believed." She circled him now slowly, like a curious predator. "Tell me, was it instinct, attraction, or did you just feel sorry for her?" Jack didn't answer. The queen turned and faced the dark window looking out into the stars. For generations our kind have ruled by control. Breeding was arranged. Love was weakness. Clones were tools. But now... She turned again, her gaze softer. "A clone has carried life, and the life is strong." She stepped closer once more. "I didn't come here to destroy. I came here to experience what she did. I came here to ask if you would share that same gift with me." Jack's heart pounded. "What are you asking?" The queen's eyes burned into his. "I want a child, human. Not for science. Not for power. For legacy." Jack stepped back, stunned. "This is insane. You barely know me." "You didn't know Sira either," she said calmly. "But she bloomed under you. She became more than a clone. You brought that spark. I want it too." Jack looked away. "What about her? What about the one carrying my child now?" The queen was quiet. "She is part of me, but she is not me." Jack looked at her again. "You call her a tool. I call her family." A strange expression crossed the queen's face, like she was hearing a new word for the first time. Family. Suddenly she reached out and touched his temple. A wave of energy passed between them. Images flooded Jack's mind, the queen's memories, wars, crowns, betrayal, loneliness, 1,000 lifetimes of ruling without feeling. Then, silence. She let go. Now her voice was soft. "I didn't understand what I was missing until now." Before Jack could respond, the queen turned and waved her hand. The guards stepped out. She and Jack were alone. She removed her cloak, revealing a form nearly identical to Sira, but older, more commanding. Her skin shimmered like starlight. Her voice was no longer royal. It was vulnerable. "Jack, I am not here as a queen tonight." Jack was silent. She stepped closer. "I'm here as a woman who hasn't felt warmth in centuries. A woman whose people are dying slowly, and you..." She touched his chest. "You are the first light we've seen in generations." Jack stepped back, conflicted. "I'm not a god," he said. "I'm just a man who was kind to someone." The queen smiled sadly. "Sometimes kindness is more powerful than war." She leaned in closer. "Let me feel it too." At that moment, the door hissed. Sierra stood there, weak from hiding, but with strength in her eyes. She had heard everything. Her voice shook. "You said I was just a tool, and now you want to replace me?" The queen turned slowly, regal again. "You were created to serve, but you evolved. He gave you that." Sierra walked forward. "Then respect that evolution. Don't take what is mine." Jack looked between them. Two women, one born from power, one born from creation, one his ruler, one the mother of his unborn child. The queen finally stepped back, her gaze unreadable. "This isn't over," she said. "I will not force you, Jack, but the galaxy is watching, and soon, choices must be made." She turned and left, her golden cloak sweeping the floor. Jack stood frozen. Sierra looked at him and quietly said, "She doesn't want a child. She wants you." Human torn between two queens, Jack stood in the middle of the dim hallway. One door behind him hid Sierra, the clone who carried his child. The other side led to the ship of Queen Azathra, the ruler who had just asked for his seed, and maybe more. His heart beat like a war drum. How had things become this complicated? One moment, he was fixing broken power cells on a forgotten outpost. Now he was the center of a royal storm. Two women, both alien, both nearly identical, wanted him, but for very different reasons. In the medbay, Sierra sat quietly, holding her stomach. Her skin glowed softly, a faint shimmer pulsing with every beat of the tiny life growing inside her. She wasn't crying. She was thinking. She had felt the queen's presence, felt how her DNA reacted when Azathra walked close. Clones were made, to obey, to reflect, to kneel. But something inside Sierra fought that pull now, because Jack had given her something stronger than code. He had given her choice. Jack walked into the medbay slowly. Sierra looked up. "She wants me," Jack said quietly. Sierra nodded. "I heard. She didn't threaten me. She didn't try to take you by force. But it's clear. She wants a child. And not just a child," Sierra said softly. "She wants you. She wants to feel what I felt." Jack sighed and sat beside her. "I don't know what to do." Sierra touched his arm. "I'm not here to trap you, Jack. You never owed me anything. I came to learn, remember? But I fell in love with what I saw." Jack looked at her. "You're not a copy anymore. You're your own person now." She smiled sadly. "But I still share her face, her voice, her blood." Jack leaned forward. "You also share my child. That makes you different. That makes you real." Suddenly, the station lights flickered again. Jack's wrist console lit up. "Incoming transmission." Direct royal link, he accepted. The queen's voice echoed inside the room. "Jack, I've given you time. Now I ask for your answer. Meet me in my chamber, 1 hour, no guards, just us." Sierra lowered her gaze. Jack stood slowly. "I need to know what she really wants," he said. "If there's a future, for any of us." The queen's private chamber aboard the sovereign womb was nothing like Jack expected. No throne, no guards, just flowing curtains, golden lights, and strange flowers glowing softly in the air. She stood at the center, dressed in a simple robe, not royal, just a alien woman, alone. "You came," she said. Jack nodded. "I had to." They sat. The queen poured a glowing liquid into 2 small crystal cups. "Memory tea," she said. "It allows truth to rise in our minds." Jack took a sip. It tasted like light. Then the queen spoke. "I was never supposed to feel. My people designed me for leadership, not love. Clones were meant to serve me, not reflect me. But now, Sira changed. Because of you. Jack stayed quiet. Azathra continued, her voice low. We are fading, Jack. My people grow colder each generation, passionless, gray. But you, a simple human, did what no Zarnathi male could. You awakened something in her, something ancient. She touched her chest. And now, I want that too, Jack asked carefully. Do you want me? Or just what I can give? The queen met his eyes. Both. There was no lie in her voice. I want your flame, she said, not just for heirs, but to feel what you made her feel. I want to burn like she burned. I want to change too. Jack stood up, heart pounding. But I'm not a tool. I'm not a genetic experiment. Azathra rose as well. And I'm not your ruler in this moment. I am only a woman asking. The silence stretched. Then she whispered, Would you come to me willingly? Back on the station, Sira clutched her stomach. Suddenly a sharp pain hit her. She fell to the floor, gasping. Something was wrong with the baby. She activated the alert system and sent a distress signal to Jack. Jack's wrist console blinked. He froze. Sira, medical emergency, unstable pulse, internal distress. Without another word, he turned to leave. Azathra stepped aside. Go to her. He paused at the door. She needs me now, he said. And after? The queen asked. Jack didn't answer. He ran. He found Sira pale and weak, her body trembling. The alien child inside her was glowing too bright, burning her from within. I'll stabilize you, Jack said, grabbing med tools. Sira grabbed his wrist. Promise me. Promise you won't give up on us. I won't, Jack said firmly. He injected a stabilizer and placed her in the biochamber. Slowly, her body calmed. The glow faded. But Jack knew something else now. He had a duty, not just as a father, but as a bridge, between two worlds, between a queen and a clone, and maybe between the future and the past. One night, two fates. The stars outside looked calm, but inside the station, everything was changing. Sira rested in the biochamber, her breathing slow, her skin pale. The alien child inside her had nearly burned her alive. It was growing faster than expected, adapting, evolving. Something powerful was happening inside her. Jack stayed by her side, holding her hand, watching the soft glow return to her cheeks. She was stable now, but barely. Suddenly the console beeped, a signal from the queen. Jack hesitated before opening it. Come to me tonight, her voice said. Not as my subject, not as my donor, but as something greater. He stared at the screen. He didn't answer, but he knew he had to go. The queen's chamber aboard the sovereign womb had changed again. No curtains, no flowers. Now it was filled with ancient symbols, swirling lights, and a floating platform surrounded by energy. Jack stepped inside, unsure. Azathra stood barefoot on the platform. Her robe was gone. Her skin shimmered like gold under starlight. Her hair flowed like fire behind her. But her face was soft, almost afraid. I'm not here to seduce you, she said gently. I'm here to share something sacred. Jack stepped forward. Why me? Because you're the only being in this galaxy who made my clone feel love. That means you carry something no Zarnathi ever did. She lifted her hands. Tonight I asked to bond. Jack raised an eyebrow. What does that mean? Bond? The queen walked closer. Our ancestors once connected through light, not flesh. It was called the soul weave, a ritual that linked two minds and two bloodlines. It hasn't been done in thousands of years, but if we do it now... She paused. We'll share everything. Thoughts, memories, pain, desire, fear. And if our bodies accept it, I may conceive as Sira did. Jack's heart beat faster. And if it fails? He asked. We both die. He stepped back. Why would you risk that? The queen looked him in the eyes. Because I am tired of ruling alone. I want to feel truly feel before I vanish into history." Jack was silent for a long moment. Then he slowly stepped onto the platform. "I'm not a king. I'm not even special. You are to me," she whispered. The soul weave began. Golden light wrapped around them. Jack felt warmth in his spine, then lightning in his brain. Suddenly, he saw her memories. The queen as a child, her parents erased for weakness, her crown forced on her before she could choose. Thousands of years of silence, duty, coldness, and deep inside, a hunger for something real. Azathra gasped, feeling Jack's memories too. His childhood on Earth, his quiet nature, his loneliness, his kindness, his pain when his brother died, his moment of weakness, when he let Sira in. Then, love. She clutched his shoulders. "This is it. This is the spark." Light burst from their bodies. The air around them bent and shimmered. Then, darkness. Hours later, Jack woke up on the platform. Azathra lay beside him, her body glowing with soft fire. She opened her eyes. "It worked," she whispered. "I feel it inside me." Jack sat up, dizzy. His head was filled with pieces of her mind. He would never forget what he saw. And now, he wasn't just connected to one alien woman. He was connected to two. Azathra stood slowly, no longer a queen in armor, but a mother in becoming. "You've changed me," she said. Jack looked at her. "You still want to rule?" She smiled. "I want to build with you." But before he could reply, his wrist console flashed again. Sira was waking up, and the baby was coming. Jack rushed back to the station. He found Sira in the chamber, eyes wide, sweat on her face. "It's early," she gasped. "Something's happening. I can feel it." Jack looked at the monitors. The child's energy signature was peaking, far too strong for any human or alien to handle. Then the queen's voice echoed from the door. "I felt it too," she said. "The child isn't just strong, it's the firstborn of a new kind." Sira looked at her weakly. "Why are you here?" Azathra stepped forward. "To help, not to steal." Together they placed their hands on Sira's belly. Golden light flowed between them, queen, clone, and human, connected through the unborn life they all shared. The baby inside kicked once, then the glow dimmed. The energy calmed. Sira gasped, smiling. "He's okay," she whispered. Jack smiled back, overwhelmed. "And the queen?" She looked down at her own stomach, then smiled. "My child has awakened too. Two mothers, one human." Jack stood in silence, staring at the two women in front of him. One was Sira, the clone who had broken her programming to love. She was glowing, alive, carrying the first true child ever born between a human and Zarnathi. The other was Queen Azathra, who had ruled empires for generations, but had just risked her life in a soul bond with a human to feel something real. She now stood changed, calmer, warmer, yet still powerful. And like Sira, she was now pregnant. Two women, one man, two unborn children who would change the galaxy. The room felt too small for the size of what had just happened. Jack finally spoke. "What now?" Azathra looked out the window toward the stars. "Now, everything changes." 1 week later, news spread fast. The Zarnathi Empire, long, cold, and unchanging, was shaken to its core. The queen had returned to her people not with threats or war, but with a human father and the announcement of her pregnancy. The royal court exploded in disbelief. Some called her mad. Others whispered she had been manipulated. Many feared what would come from such a bond, but a few were inspired. The queen did not silence them. She let them speak, and then she summoned the full council. In the ancient chamber of lights, she stood before thousands of Zarnathi leaders and said, "We created clones to be our shadows, but they became more, We called humans primitive, but they carry a light we lost long ago. I now carry a child made with one of them. So does one of my own shadows. And from this, I do not feel shame. I feel hope. Gasps filled the chamber. She continued, "If this offends tradition, then let tradition end. If I must step down to birth a future, so be it. But I will not hide from love." Then she stepped aside, and Sira stepped forward. For the first time in history, a clone spoke to the Empire. Her voice was soft, but clear. "I was made to serve, but I chose to live. And when I met the human, I became more than my programming. I became a person, and soon as I will become a mother." The chamber fell into silence. Then slowly one elder stood and clapped, then another, then 100 more, then thousands. The future had arrived, and the people had accepted it. But peace wasn't for everyone. Far beyond the capital, in the shadowy, outer colonies, a secret group of Zarnathi scientists and generals gathered. They saw the Queen's pregnancy not as a miracle, but as a threat to Zarnathi purity. They called themselves the True Line. To them, the child inside Sira and the Queen was an abomination, a danger. If these half-hybrids lived, Zarnathi blood would be mixed forever. So they made a plan. They would strike before the children were born. Back on the station, Jack had returned with Sira to the same outpost where everything began. He wanted peace, privacy, time to prepare. Sira's stomach was growing fast. The baby inside her pulsed with a quiet energy, strong, yet gentle, not like anything the med scans had ever seen before. She sat by the window, watching the stars, humming softly. Jack approached her. "How are you feeling?" She smiled. "Better, but I feel watched." Jack's face tightened. "You're not wrong." He pulled up a scan. A shadow had appeared near the outer asteroid belt. A cloaked ship, too small for traders, too large for research. He tapped a button. "Azathra, we may have company." Her voice came through calmly. I sensed it too. "I'm already on my way." The attack that night, the sky tore open. 3 black Zarnathi ships dropped out of warp near the outpost. They didn't broadcast warnings. They didn't ask questions. They opened fire. Lasers hit the outer shielding. The station shook. Jack pulled Sira into the emergency medbay and locked the door. "I won't let them take you," he whispered. Sira clutched his hand. "If anything happens to me, protect our child." Jack didn't answer. He was already loading a pulse rifle. Outside, enemy troops began boarding. Then, the sovereign womb arrived. Queen Azathra didn't hesitate. She launched golden energy cannons that tore 2 enemy ships apart in seconds. But the third broke through. On board, an enemy general barked, "Get the clone, get the child, kill the human if necessary." They breached the corridor leading to Sira, but before they could reach her, Jack stepped out. He held the rifle steady, his hands calm. "This is your last chance," he said. "Turn back." The soldiers laughed. "One human can't stop a squad." Jack smiled faintly. "I'm not alone." Suddenly a burst of golden light lit the hallway. The Queen arrived, but she wasn't wearing armor. She wasn't carrying weapons. She stepped forward slowly, and her child glowed inside her, energy swirling around her body like a shield. The enemy soldiers froze. "You're not fighting a queen," she said coldly. "You're fighting a mother." She raised her hand. A golden wave surged from her palm, raw life force from her unborn child, and the hallway exploded with light. The enemy vanished.